So, I want to talk about the big three, like Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox, and the future of these companies and their brand. And I would love to hear opinions from you all as well. So, I would like to start off by bringing up recent events. If you're familiar with Kojima and Konami, uh, Kojima is the director of the Metal Gear series and the recent PT demo for Silent Hills. A lot of strange things have been going on with him and Konami lately. To make it simple, on any official website, or at least most of them that link Kojima and Konami, it's been edited or his name's been removed, and any affiliation with him is kind of confusing for the most part. And he similarly, with Konami, the director behind the Castlevania games has been. He created a new game and took it out to a bunch of different publishers, and eventually tried to get it crowdfunded. And he said that was because Konami was pretty much backing out of the console video game market and just focusing on making mobile games. And then the CEO of Konami recently stated that mobile games were their future. And with that in mind, Nintendo recently announced their partnership with DNA to make mobile games as well. But they're also coming out with a new NX, or as some people are calling it, the Nintendo Cross, because the rumor is it's supposed to be sort of a cross between handheld and home console. And I imagine it'll be something sort of like having like the Wii U, or but just being able to take the gamepad with you whenever you go. Sort of like if any of you are familiar with the PlayStation 4 and the Vita's Remote Play, you can take the Vita with you, and as long as you have Wi-Fi, you can stream it straight to your Vita. And I imagine that's sort of what the next Nintendo console will be. To where it's, if you have Wi-Fi, then in all intensive purposes, it is a handheld console. But if you're at home, you can still play on your big screen with your controller and everything. And that's basically the first part of the discussion video, and I want to get your all's opinions on that, because that's more of the recent future for Nintendo.
Okay.
Well, first off, I do want to get the more difficult reality out of the way, specifically dealing with many other developers, in particular with Nintendo. People such as Shigeru Miyamoto and Eiji Numa have done a lot of work when it comes towards creating titles such as Mario and Zelda. But these same individuals will not live forever. Eventually, they will retire. The question is who will succeed them. I think we're seeing kind of the dying out of the old guard, if that's the proper term to come in this year. Really, what's going to happen to their series, or what's going to happen to the future in gaming in general. I do see some kind of push towards indie developers, since we do see a lot of crowdfunding for a lot of these independent developers. For example, what happened recently with Ukulele and Playtonic, and recently with the Castlevania series, dealing with that one individual in Konami. Perhaps we're seeing us straying away towards I want to say, a rise of indie developers that goes pretty much in the opposite direction of what larger corporations want to go in when it comes to gaming. So it's kind of interesting to see that happen. I think we're seeing the foundations of that particular steps, and yeah.
Well, honestly, I really don't know where some of these big video game developers want to go with their gaming, especially Konami and Capcom. Konami says that, oh yeah, mobile gaming is the future of gaming, which I wholeheartedly don't believe at all. And if they don't want to go into mobile gaming, yeah, sure, they're going to make money at one point, probably, and then at certain points, they're going to be the laughingstock of the game community. And I really believe they're snowballing into that very, very, very rapidly. And, you know, it's funny how the creator of Castlevania, when he came out with Bloodstained, he came out and said that I've been told by various companies that no one wants this type of game anymore. And with Bloodstained being funded in a day over $1 million already, we already know that's bullshit. people want these games. Where the gaming market, or where some of the big dogs in gaming seem to want to drive this gaming market, is a place that a lot of us hardcore gamers don't want to go. You know, they keep on insisting like this is the future, and we're like, no, it's not. This is what makes you money. And you know, at the same time, you know, it is in the end about making money, but at the same time, it is about for us, it's about getting great games from great developers. And Capcom and Konami have seemed to be falling off that really, really badly. Rare has been falling off. You know, I can't even like state my aggravation with them of how they handled Banjo-Kazooie with fucking nuts and bolts. But they already fell off so hard for me, and I'm really glad to see Ukulele come back from the ashes. That was, you know, the burnt down Banjo-Kazooie, and that's what we're seeing in this day and age. We're seeing fallen great video game franchises be brought anew from the Phoenix's ashes. We're seeing My Number 9 come out from Mega Man. We're seeing Bloodstain come out from Castlevania. Now we're seeing Ukulele come out from Banjo-Kazooie. And if video game developers really want to be stupid with their biggest franchises, with their legendary franchises, if they really want to be stupid like that, then the creators are just going to get frustrated. And from what we've seen with these big three, they really have, you know, the right to go out and break free of their company and, you know, I wouldn't say rely, but, you know, dedicate themselves to the fans who will dedicate themselves back into these great pseudo franchises or whatever, and, you know, get these great icons back in the game where they should be, instead of this, you know, weird shooter maniac genre of game. Man, I really don't like this. Yeah, so
the problem with mobile gaming, in my opinion, is microtransactions. Since mobile gaming could be the future of gaming, especially for the casual, since we all know why the Wii U is struggling. It's a result of marketing and the change of the casual gaming market. And I believe more and more developers are putting attention to the huge gaming segment that we hardcore gamers might not recognize as gamers. But from a financial point of view, they are the most beneficial source of income for many developers, and it was an important source of income for Nintendo during the Wii generation. So basically, the problem with mobile gaming are microtransactions, that you could download a game for free or for, let's say, $5, but then you have to pay for unlocking additional content or to continue playing. That's the problem with the video game, with mobile gaming. Microtransactions that are the cancer of the video game industry.
That puts it very lightly.
it really is.
Yeah, I agree 100% with that statement.
I think the problem is that mobile gaming focuses way too much on that little small niche that buys a lot of premium stuff, and it lives only on those people. So I think if everyone focuses only on mobile, that the entire industry will burn out really quickly.
Yeah, and that's something that I really fear, because, you know, everyone's like, oh, it's what makes money, but, you know, as we've seen with the Guitar Hero franchise, you know, people eventually get burnt out of the same shit over and over and over again, and it's going to happen to mobile gaming, mark my words.
You know, like, I think when you really boil it down to it, it's all just for a scramble for capital, for money, in that sense. That pretty much we're kind of seeing the faults and failings of particular video game companies they have these particular faults and failings just because they're really just seeking for money. And that pretty much goes in direct conflict between a lot of artists that are in the video game franchise. I just wanted to deliver a quality product. And that's why you kind of see a lot of games or a lot of game developers rushing out games when they're not even finished. Just for the sake of trying to really capitalize on making money. And because of that, we're kind of seeing kind of a quantity as opposed to quality. And in particular, I think Nintendo is not too guilty of this, whereas Microsoft and Sony are. But in that sense, it's really, in a sense, for gaining a lot of money. And that's where mobile gaming, in a sense, is specifically garnered for, since we do have all these influx of freemium games, which are pretty much just solely it's just kind of a pseudo kind of gaming in which you do have to pay, but not directly in that sense. So in that sense, I do believe that this whole scramble for money and this whole this influx of pretty much have capital above developing games is really going to be detrimental for the video game franchises in the future.
Exactly, because as much as there is to be said for the hardcore gaming market, the casual gaming market cannot be underestimated because everyone has a phone or a tablet or something that can play mobile games. So it is inarguably a massive market. But like you were saying, I think if people focus on mobile games and only mobile games, it'll be a very short period of time before we just see the same thing and only the same thing, and there's no sort of originality. And that's why personally I support what Nintendo have decided to do with mobile games, where they're producing them, or at least they've given someone the license to produce them, and then they're also focusing on console gaming at the same time. And I personally think this is a better way to go about it than focus solely on mobile gaming.
That was focusing on more recent future, because those are what companies are starting to do now, and with the NX, they're releasing their next-gen console, probably going to be announced next year, or if that console ends up failing like the Wii U, then I imagine that Nintendo's just going to do what Sega did and become software exclusive. And I think their step into the mobile market is their first sort of step outside of the console realm to produce games on stuff other than Nintendo platforms. Although the games they make for mobile may end up actually being able to also work on the NX.
But
so
yes, in terms of Nintendo's future, especially with the NX, it all depends on when they will launch the console and the marketing. Since the Wii U came out at the wrong time with the wrong marketing. That is something we can all agree on. But in terms of the NX, it depends on how early it comes out compared to the next generation of, let's say, the successors of PS4 or Xbox One, since otherwise we'll have a repetition of what occurred back in 2013, where it was only 1 year in between the Wii U and the much more powerful PS4 and Xbox One.
I will definitely have to agree with Conrad here. In a sense, you're kind of counting your chickens before they hatch. Really, Nintendo really just stated they would do this mobile platforming thing relatively recently, and we haven't really seen what they're planning to do with that. In a sense, how they're going to market it and how they're really going to establish franchises on this whole mobile platform thing they got going on. In particular, I'm pretty interested to see what it will come up, what plans they have dealing with it. Really, I have a feeling they have kind of learned their mistakes from the advent of the Wii U. I think they really just try to capitalize on the title of the Wii. And Satoru Iwata, he's very fond of rehashing a lot of former names into their products. More recently, the new Nintendo 3DS, which I still think is a bad name. And yeah.
And it should be noted that even if the NX, winds up failing, as a lot of people like to put it quotation marks, Nintendo can continue be in the console market because they've made so much bank with the Wii and the 3DS and so much money in general. They have so many bonds that accumulate over like $30 billion. They're set for, like, they can set themselves up to fail for the next 25 years and they'll still be good and they'll still be making a good amount of money to stay afloat. The thing with the Wii U, like Conrad and Macintyre said, is that the reason why it's failing is not because it's a bad system. The Wii U is a great system. I believe it's one of the best systems out there, if not, the best system, because for some weird reason, the PlayStation 4 and Xbox Ones has a really hard time running games in 1080p and 60 frames per second, where the Wii U seems to have no problem doing that with one of the most rigorous games, Super Smash Bros. For Wii U. It's not a bad system. The thing is that Nintendo had this weird mentality of not marketing it correctly. They just didn't market the shit out of Wii U. Just like if they would have marketed Wii U like they did with the Wii, because the Wii's marketing campaign was so good. If they had a marketing campaign half as good as that, then the Wii would have sold a lot more. They assumed that, oh yeah, we're gonna go back into the hardcore gaming market where we're gonna automatically make money, because everyone's like, oh yeah, you're forsaking us hardcore gamers with the Wii. That thing's for casuals. When are you gonna make something for hardcore? They automatically assumed, oh yeah, we're gonna make something for hardcore gamers, so it's gonna sell. But they didn't understand that marketing is half the battle. So, like, if they decide to do that with NX and learn from the mistakes of, poorly marketing with the Wii U and not having good games at launch, then I'm pretty sure the NX could fly as big and bold as the Wii. They just have to learn from their mistakes. I really don't see them, pulling out of the console market anytime soon.
Yep. Vortexxy, did you want to go, or shall I?
Oh, you can go first.
Okay. Well, Nintendo have recovered from, bad selling consoles in the past, such as the GameCube, was one of the worst selling consoles ever. So they have bounced back from situations like this in the past. And like HMK said, I personally don't think that the Wii U is a bad console. The main problem was, the marketing. Like they had to basically clear up the mistakes they made with their launch marketing for the Wii U, because loads of people didn't actually know that it was a new console and not a sort of extension or peripheral for the Wii. So, I'm just sort of reiterating here. I don't really have anything else to say. If they market the NX well, I think it will sell well.
Okay. Well, I think Nintendo also needs more third-party games. I personally don't have a Wii U. Please don't stone me or anything. I have a PS4, and Wii U just doesn't have any of the games I like. So, besides Zelda, of course. So I think they really need more third-party games if they want to survive.
Yeah, I just wanted to state the difference between the third-party developers and the first-party developers, since you also see this quality difference, especially when it comes to the power and the graphical capabilities of the PS4. I know that the Order 1886 isn't a rather good game, gameplay-wise, but graphically, wow, that is one of the most stunning games I've ever seen. And though I own a PS4, and I think it's a good system by any means. The controller is great, and the third party support is great. The problem is that the third party developers are not able to fully utilize the potential that can be found within these platforms. And the same problem was found in the Wii U, as long as they had third party support. And huge third party developers such as Ubisoft, such as EA, such as Square Enix, for instance, HMK, are all struggling with optimizing their software to this hardware, while the first-party developers, such as Naughty Dog, or let's say the different groups of Nintendo, are able to push out the ultimate power of their consoles.
Right, and also I want to bring up this one point. I do agree that Nintendo should have a greater emphasis towards their marketing, but I also would like them to do this as well, to kind of lighten up their stance when it comes towards the internet space and content creation, especially on YouTube. Nintendo has garnered a pretty bad reputation of being kind of zealous and stingy when it comes towards their product. HMK knows exactly what I'm talking about on YouTube, and I really, really would like them to be like a bit more welcoming towards the content creator community, especially on YouTube. And if they do that, then that's one step in a very good direction.
We are giving them free advertising after all.
Yep.
Exactly, but not to say that they're not wrong, but they're just being douches about it. I mean, yeah, it's their content, but I mean, like at the same time, we're doing them a favor, and they just don't see that. And when they realize that, maybe, just maybe, things will be better, because that Nintendo Creators Program is just it's such a joke, man. It is such a fucking joke. Even my partnership program was all like, yo, steer clear from that. Don't even do that, man. Oh God. But I just like to take my chances, put out Nintendo content, and just hope they don't claim it. And if they claim it, it's go time. And
Yeah. One thing I would like to say about Nintendo's stance on the YouTube videos is it would make sense if they didn't want people to basically be advertising their game for them if they put out bad games. Like Naughty Bear is a game that I can think of, or
Sonic Boom.
Exactly. Like if people, like if they made games of that quality and people were playing them, then I could see where in their minds they would be like, okay, we need to make sure people on YouTube or wherever aren't showing off this game, because someone might watch it for 5 or 10 minutes and then completely change their mind on buying it. But in their position, they make really good games that hardly ever need patches or updates or anything from breaking. Like, they release a game and it's a complete game. Unlike other studios that release games and then you get 10, 12, or even 15 different patches within the first few months. And then on top of that, they start adding a bunch of DLC. With Nintendo started adding DLC lately, and they usually get 1 or 2 patches, but that's it. And usually from the start, it's, like I said, a complete game. And they're all very fun. They all get really high scores whenever they get reviewed. So I don't see why they wouldn't want people seeing the game, because it would influence everybody else
I think
to buy the game.
I think it's mostly because they feel entitled to some of the money since the game was created by them. I think that's the biggest contributing factor.
I disagree there, HMK, since I think it's more of a mixture of cultural differences, since Nintendo of Japan has still not embraced the idea of YouTube as an advertising channel, apart from their own YouTube channel, of course.
Yeah, Kama just stole the words out of my mouth, pretty much. The culture is pretty much a very big contributing factor within Nintendo's policy towards content creation. Pretty much from what I understand, Japan hasn't really been fully embracive, as what Kama particularly said, of how YouTube is a potential outlook towards advertisement. I think they're kind of lightening up towards this, since I'm pretty sure Reggie isn't an idiot, or Reggie Fils-Aimé, and he pretty much has overseen this. And there's some employees of Nintendo of America that have stressed similar outlook that what a lot of fans such as ourselves are really stressing. Hopefully, Nintendo of Japan, that's really the nucleus of the Nintendo organization or corporation, is really taking these hints, and perhaps in the future, maybe hopefully that they'll act on them.
Yeah, I really hope so, because upon thinking about it a little bit, because I kind of like jumped the gun there, and I still believe that kind of contributes to it. But I do see what you're saying about the cultural differences between Nintendo of Japan and what goes on here in America, or even the whole world for that matter. Because Nintendo of America, they seem to be a-okay with YouTubers and stuff like that. They even collaborate with Nintendo Fan for the Win and what's his face? Jay Witz not too long ago with a Splatoon live stream from Best Buy. So I think they're down with the YouTubers, and they even collaborated with Mega 64 last year for E3. So I mean, Nintendo Japan, please.
Yeah, I really do hope they lighten up on it, because I think Vortexxy said, it is essentially just free advertising for them, and that's something they need to understand, because big YouTubers have such an influence over so many people, and this policy Nintendo's going ahead with is actually pushing these people to say, we're just not going to do Nintendo stuff on our channel anymore. For example, Angry Joe is a big example of a
Angry
YouTube.
Joe is just being a baby. He's being such a baby, honestly, Because first of all, look, if it was a person that continuously did Nintendo products and then just got fed up with it and just stopped, then I'm like, okay, I mean, yeah, he's been doing this for a while and he's been giving Nintendo free press for years. That's cool. He feels frustrated, whatever. Angry Joe, he has not done Nintendo shit in the past. He decides to pick up a Wii U because oh yeah, it looks fun. He says he has fun. Does Mario Party 10. Oh my gosh, they're blocking all my stuff. I'm done with you, Nintendo. I'm like, dude, really? Where have you been for the past few years? Under a rock? What do you think we've been battling for years? So Angry Joe, he's just being a baby.
But at the end of the day, he does have a 2 million subscriber fan base, and he's not making Nintendo videos.
Right. But there are other people that can do his job just as well when it comes to Nintendo, like the Jay Witz, Nintendo Fan for the Win,
that's
John Tron, Igor Raptor, and they can do that job way easier, and they have around the same amount of fan base.
Yeah.
And also, pretty much, I do want Nintendo to kind of realize what's the advertising potential YouTube has. Look what happened to Minecraft. Look what happened to Five Nights at Freddy's. Those games have blew up just because of YouTube.
Markiplier, the Jesus of Five Nights at Freddy's.
They really underestimate the power of the internet.
Yep.
Yeah.